What is behind me?
Thinking about moving to Miami, Florida, or just want to know what it's like there? We have, what'd you say? We're recording right now, Iris. We're going right now. You can't back out now. Iris Sotolongo down there in Miami, Florida. Let me turn my music down. I'm trying to do music now. Iris, say hello to everybody, Iris.
Hello, everyone.
She's trying to be ready for this. So we're going to start it off with a little icebreaker, which I don't tell you we're going to do. But pick a number between 1 and 350, and I'm going to ask you a random question that I Google on the internet. So pick a number between 1 and 350.
717. Oh, what? Hello. Wait, we started off wrong. 1 and 350. 177.
177. All right. What's the smartest thing you've ever seen an animal do? What's the smartest thing you've ever seen an animal do?
Smartest or just, well.
Have you ever had a dog?
Yes, I have. I don't currently have one, but yes, I've absolutely had a dog.
Let's change it to what's the coolest thing you've ever trained your dog to do? Or the coolest thing you've ever seen somebody else train their dog to do?
Well, one thing that I found very neat is practically almost like family members of ours, they taught their dog to put their paw up and ring the door like a bell, like a cowbell that they had close to the floor. Here, come on, it's time for me to go out. So I thought that was really neat. He would really go to by the door. They had it, obviously towards the bottom, and he'd go ring the bell like it's time for me to go. Open the door. So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, they do all that. You think they could rig up a way for him to just let himself out and not have to do it at all, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Cut a hole in the door. But now that we've got you acclimated to the episode, this is Wanna Move There, the show giving everybody the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to another area and a hookup there to hook up with. I am your host, DerekBicksler, realtor of 15 years, 16 years now, I think, actually, right here in central Pennsylvania. Hit me up in the comments. You got me off my game now, too. Hit us up in the comments with hellos and questions. If you have questions, if we don't see them during the episode, we'll come back and address them later, or just tell us where you're watching from. A reminder that all the replays are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify. So all the video places, all the audio places, wherever you like to consume your content, it will be there waiting for you. And now we'll jump into it with Iris down there in Miami, Florida. Let's start with, what's the last movie you watched while I bring your bio up?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago with my husband. It's an old movie. And there's a song. Oh my gosh. I cannot remember the name.
Was it in the theater or on Netflix or what?
We saw it on the TV. No, it wasn't in the theater. Oh God, it's a song. And it's actually based on a true story. It has to do with his father. If only, oh my God, it'll come back to me. If only, oh my God.
But it's based on the title of a song?
That movie. I'm sorry?
It's based on the title of a song?
Yes. When the movie started coming on, I'm telling my husband, he said, no, it's based on a true story. And it has to do with his father.
It's not like Purple Rain or something?
No, it's not that. If only, oh my gosh.
Well, you can think about it while we go through your bio, and if it comes back to your mind, you can let me know.
Yes.
So here we go. I got it up here. You grew up in New Jersey, so not where you are, but closer to here. New Jersey is the vacation capital of the world, if you didn't know that. So a little trivia for everybody out there. I probably say it every episode, so anybody that watches it already knows that. But you grew up in Jersey, and you went to high school in Wayne, New Jersey. What was the mascot there in Wayne?
Wildcat.
The Wildcat.
Wildcat.
Nice.
Wildcat.
There's a lot of Wildcats.
Yeah. Yeah, the school's no longer opened. It closed down quite a number of years ago, probably like 15, 20. It closed down a number of years ago, but yeah, it was a very small private school that I went to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was going to say it closed down. How does school close down?
It did. It was a Catholic high school. Yeah. It was a very small private Catholic high school. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you went to college in Miami at Florida International University, so that makes sense how you got down there. You went for finance and international business. Your favorite color is blue. I'm going to ask you your second favorite color because I toyed with the idea of saying you can't say blue because for a while there, like 30 episodes in a row, everybody said blue. So give me your second favorite color if you had to pick a second favorite color.
If I had to pick a favorite second color, you know what? And the thing with blue is I wear all different shades of it. So I happen to, and this was just coincidence, by the way, that I happen to be wearing a blue shirt, but I also wear a lot of royal blue, which also coincides with one of the colors of my brokerage. That's coincidentally. So I wear this, and I also wear like a royal midnight blue. I wear those colors a lot. So it's within blue, but a bunch of different shades. And other than that, probably an off-white is something that I like to wear a lot, at least in tops and things. The weather.
All right, so your answer was at least practical, because a lot of people said, like, my official color is red, but I actually, if you looked at what I actually wear or buy, it's probably black. Most stuff I buy, or if I have the choice, I buy the black version of it. So I like that your answer actually is what you wear and buy and use and everything. Your favorite food says many. So boil it down to maybe one of your favorite foods. If you had to pick one food for a desert island, what food would you have every day? You could eat it all the time, every day.
I love grilled fish. I really do. Whitefish, grilled, just all different types, whether it's mahi-mahi, whether it's grouper, whether it's swat. I just really do love grilled fish. A grilled fillet of fish. I do enjoy all different sorts. I also like shellfish, but grilled fillet of fish was probably one of my favorites.
Nice. Have you ever gone fishing for a dolphin or mahi-mahi or whatever they call those things?
Not really. I've gone fishing. That was when I was much younger. But I'm not a big fisher. My husband loves fishing, but I'm not a big fisher person. Like that's not kind of. I don't like the touching of the fish, the hooks and all that kind of stuff. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
I love to eat it, but yeah, I'll go on the boat. I'll watch you. I'll cook.
I feel you. I'm not into it either. I did have the experience in high school, though. I went down there with a friend's family, and they had a charter boat with a captain and a skipper to go mahi-mahi fishing, and we drove around pretty much just wherever the gulls were. That's where they were, because they were down eating the other fish that swam to the top that the gulls ate. So they would look for fish. They would drive over there, throw a bunch of things in the water. We didn't really do anything but watch it happen, really, actually. And then they were huge. I was surprised at how big they were.
Yeah, they are. They are really, really, really big, and that's a really good fish. Really, really.
Yeah.
One of my favorite fish to eat. Yeah.
It is. I don't eat much meat anymore, but if I did eat a fish, that would probably be one of the ones I would. A burger down there is good. You got to get a mahi-mahi burger is on every menu,
Those
right?
are delicious.
And then you have no pets. You have a son that's 23 years old. Is he in college, out of college?
He graduated. He has a bachelor's degree, concentration in accounting, and he is, he's studying, getting ready for his part 1 for CFA, and then he will certified financial. So once he gets that part, because that's a 3-part exam, he will be following up with his master's, and then he will be sitting for CPA. Those are his goals for now. So yeah.
Awesome. So he still wants to be an accountant after doing it for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, well, he just graduated, so he really hasn't been doing it, but he is
studying it.
I am a numbers person. I am definitely a numbers person. As we get into my background a little bit, but I have my corporate background is in finance. I literally worked in the finance field, and so I'm very much a numbers person. Yeah.
Good for this job. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And you are married to Angel, and your hobbies are gardening, cooking, and enjoying hosting. So what's the last thing you hosted? Birthday party, anniversary? What was it?
It's been quite a while because it's COVID. We've been in this a little bit over 2 years. But typically at our home, it's always Christmas Eve, slightly kind of smaller scale, and then Christmas Day. When we had more family living locally, it would be his family, my family, and everything in between would always be at our home, always. Thanksgiving, the major holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, it always ends up at my home. So I really enjoy that. Getting the family together and friends or whoever's around and just kind of, hosting all that. I love the party planning, getting everything ready, making the table pretty. I do enjoy all of that. I really do. I enjoy all of that.
And then gardening, what do you got going in your garden?
Right now, not much of anything because, well, I have very little at the point. My time is not much these days. It's been a little crazy, and I love gardening. I don't do it as much last few years as I would like to for lack of time. I will tell you though, because of the area down here, we are limited on what we can use with flower beds and things like that. It's too hot. So what, for example, impatiens, which I love, you have to get the right window. And the last few years across the board for everyone, the weather hasn't quite been, when I say predictable, our weather, it's like cold. I don't know, it gets really hot and then cooler, and it's just kind of been kind of crazy all over. Typically it's warm here all year round, but it's too hot. We have too much heat. So the flowers will do great for a while, and then it just takes 2 days or 3 days of really 90-degree scorching sun, and it just fries everything. So, yeah. I would love to at some point down the road. I love the four seasons, and you're limited on what you can grow here because of, like I said, the heat, and you don't have the, it needs to hibernate and then grow for the right season. So I do love flowers and all that, but we have limitations because of the weather being so hot that flowers do great in the heat for a short period, but they need the cooler air and the moisture, and it can get really steamy here. Today's a warmer day out there today, and we're only in May. So.
Yeah, totally. And we'll talk about the weather for sure. So when you talk about gardening, you're talking about like flowers and bushes and like pretty stuff, not like vegetables. Can you grow vegetables down there too? Some stuff better than others?
I have not grown vegetables myself. That is something I really would like to get into, because I've never done a vegetable garden. I would like to. I have had friends living in other areas of the country that have grown different type of vegetables. Definitely something. And I've seen certain things here, but again, the weather, because it's so hot, you'd have to like really almost grow it. I don't think you can grow it in the ground, but depending on what you're trying to grow, it may be better to even take a bed out, like a lifted kind of wooden crate, and then kind of do it that way. So that's something I'd definitely like to get into. I just honestly have never had a chance to get into that yet. So.
Yeah, the raised bed things are huge right now. And you're from the Garden State, so...
I wasn't gardening back then, though. I was too young for that. I had
tons of farms.
Other things going on, yeah.
Yeah, Jersey sweet corn. We go to Cape May, New Jersey for vacation every year, and we always pick up tomatoes and corn and all that stuff while we're there. Not that we don't have that here, but yeah.
Yeah. I love to see the fresh either fruits or vegetables. I've gone to the Carolinas where I see, kind of apples, and you can't grow that. I just love all that fresh kind of thing growing up. So.
Yeah, totally. And now you can see, everybody, I've pulled up our handy dandy Google Globe here so everybody can see where Miami, Florida is if you're living in a cave somewhere and don't know. Or other people in other countries might be watching. Or just like me, I know where Miami is, but a lot of the other places I've done, I didn't really know where they were. So Miami is in the United States. It's about as southeast as you can get. Not about. It's about, Key West would be as far out as you could go, right?
90 miles from Key West, sorry.
Yeah. So it's down towards the tip here of Florida, and it's right on the coast here. And I'm going to pull out, right now it says it's 84 degrees. It must be a particularly hot 84 degrees, or maybe they're taking that in the shade somewhere, judging by what you're saying. And I used to read the Wikipedia facts here, but they're usually pretty stupid. It says it has a population of 442,000. If you're here in central Pennsylvania, you can compare that to like 50,000 of a typical bigger city here. So it is pretty big. And then, tell us about what it looks like down there as far as the landscape and everything. What do you have, like palm trees, coconuts, that kind of thing? It's a beachy, for people that haven't been there or to any beach in Florida, what does it look like?
Yeah, so when anyone typically hears Miami, you're thinking beach and palm trees. And yes, we have beaches and like Miami Beach, right? But that's not all of Miami. Yeah, exactly, there you go. We have many towers. I don't even know the number right now off the top of my head, but we have that's Vizcaya, which is gorgeous. It's absolutely mansion. The Miami Beach, if you go down the bay, we have 56. Again, I don't have a number on top of my head. The number of towers and luxury condominiums that we have. So it is, our skyline is absolutely fabulous. It's gorgeous. It really, really is.
And what are those buildings? Are those like condo buildings, or are those like
Condo
office
buildings.
towers? Yeah.
We have condo buildings and we have office towers too. But we have Miami downtown is full of office and condos. But the Miami Beach, our skyline now, is really, really full of many luxury condominiums, high rises, very, very high skyscraper type buildings, luxury buildings. We have and then as you go further up north on the coast, you would have the Porsche Tower. It's just, we have, I mean, many type of different type of landscapes and skyscraper type luxury condominium buildings. So, and then the downtown, because, you know, people speak Miami, and Miami is very large. I don't know. It says there 400,000. I think we have close to 3 million because it's across a broad range. We have sunny isles. They're different cities, but it's kind of like all broad in the landscape of it. So Miami Beach, Miami, yeah, that's more on the beach and the high-rise, you know, condo kind of, you know, beach type living, lifestyle living, like a downtown with the beach kind of in your backyard type of style living. And then as you go more into the suburbs, we have all different type of lifestyle as well. It's not all beaches. We're close to the water. You know, you can get to the beach in 45 minutes, half an hour, depending on where you're located. But we do also have the suburbs. And we have many, say, incorporation of villages, we call it villages, little cities, where you have more of a suburb type feel within the Miami landscape. So when you talk Miami, it's just, okay, great. We have the beaches and we have lots of palm trees, coconut trees. You know, it's always green. The majority of the year, we have very blue skies. And that's the thing you miss when, you know, I grew up in the Northeast. So I do remember in the winter, it's like gray and that's not here. It's always very blue and sky, you know, the skies are always very, very blue, and you're all spoiled to that. You know, I've had friends move away and they're like, oh my God, you know it's blue, but until you're away from it for a bit, you're like, hold on a second. What happened to the blue sky that I haven't seen in 2 weeks? So it's beautiful. It's a very clean city. It's a newer, generally speaking, city. So, you know, it's very robust. New buildings, new architecture, new design. So it's very, very new. We have areas of it that have traditional, but we have a lot of new, you know, robust, young, and I don't say, oh, you know, it's just a very, very great vibe, a very vibrant city. So, you know, there's always something to do. Always. There's always something to do. No matter what time of year you come, we'll find something to do. There's just always something going on in the city and throughout the year. You know, we have particular months where for example, Art Basel, which is huge, and that's a worldwide event. And we have people flying from all over the world. That comes November, December. Then coming January, February, you're talking the art festivals. That's also worldwide. February is the boat show and Miami International Boat Show. Then you go into up Fort Lauderdale, which is the next county up. They have an international boat show as well. So every month there's something, it seems like something major is always going on.
So you can see that I pulled up the comfort index here on bestplaces.net, and this tells all the climate stuff. And I referred earlier to this and said that the comfort level was pretty low for Miami. I was kind of surprised by that because people like to live in Miami. It seems like a place people go for vacation. So you can see it gives it a 2.6 out of 9. Or no, a 2.6 in the summer, because I guess it's blistering hot, like you said, and then a 9 in the winter, and a 6.4 out of 10, I guess, as the average. So all these events you're talking about, do they usually take place more in the winter when that's when people vacation down there, is when it's not the hottest, right?
Yes, and I'll tell you, it's not so much the heat. I mean, the heat is obviously a portion of it. It's the humidity that comes along with the heat is what really makes it practically almost, I want to say unbearable, what makes it uncomfortable, where it's not a comfortable feeling because it is so humid outside. You know, 84 degrees with 60 or 50% humidity it's warm, but it's comfortable. When you have 84 degrees and it's 95, 99% humidity outside, you almost feel like you walk out into a sauna. So most of these events typically over between November, March, even through May. So it's warmer today, you know, so it's humid out there. And I guess you acclimate yourself right through the years. So you may find it very humid, and I'm like, yes, it's humid, but it's not that bad because I've been living here for so many years. But yeah, those major events are typically when we have like what you would refer to as perfect weather, because it is gorgeous. When it's, even if it's warm and like I said, the humidity is low, you could be outside all day. You could be outside all day.
And you obviously don't have snow or ice or any of that kind of stuff, but you do have hurricanes, right? What's the hurricane situation like?
Well, we're around the corner from hurricane season starting, which is June 1st, and it goes to November. And the thing with hurricanes,
To November.
Yeah, it goes to November. But
wow,
I mean, the most active time, for example, Hurricane Andrew, which is I think almost everybody knows of, at least heard of Hurricane Andrew. That was in August of '92. Yes, '92. So, and that was my real first experience with a hurricane. I had never lived through a hurricane, or I didn't even, hurricane coming, and you just kind of really didn't pay much attention. It was nothing major. So, the most active time typically, it can happen at any time, is typically August, but we've had other pretty significant storms, September, October, which, Katrina, Wilma, those are all a little bit further along. So let's say the good thing, at least with hurricanes, you're able to prepare, because it's not going to pop up like an earthquake all of a sudden. You kind of know within a week or a couple of days, and you kind of prepare. And basically, it's down to a science of get your water, batteries, lights, and that kind of thing. You just kind of, I say wait it out, depending on the severity of what's indicative of how large the storm is going to be. You kind of make your plans from there. I don't go too crazy over hurricanes anymore. I just kind of, okay, it's coming. Prepare your essentials and determine if you need to decide to evacuate or leave, depending on where you live. If you live on Miami Beach or close to the water, you will be required to evacuate, which I would do that if I had to. I don't live by the water, but if I had to, I would. But that's pretty much it. It's just, we have a warning with a little bit of, we have advanced time to kind of prepare or make movements according to what the weather's going to be like. And just, wind, no power, depending on where you are for a couple of days or a day or so. That's the biggest inconvenience, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, we have hurricanes, but at least we have more. You have a lead time.
What about rain? Like, I feel like some places in Florida, it would rain like really hard for 10 minutes or something, and then it would all go away. And then it would like once a day, it's going to pour really hard, at least once a day, but all the 99% of the day is going to be sunshine.
So during the summer months, typically, you can have, whether it's the morning or the afternoon, torrential rain, and then it's sunny all day. I will tell you, I grew up in New Jersey, right? So the first time I remember ever seeing where you drive down the block and it's literally, you walk across the street, it's sun shining, and you look across the street and it's pouring. Because we have spotty showers. I mean, my parents don't live that far away from me, like 8 or 9 miles, which is not that far. It could be sunny here, not a drop of rain, and they could have had torrential rains all afternoon. Huh. So yeah. I've actually gone to the beach at times, Key Biscayne, which is an it's an island right off of, it's off of Miami, but it's about half hour from where I am. And it's like, do I go to the beach today because the weather is forecasting it's going to rain, blah, and I've gone. And if I ask my neighbor, it poured at my house, and we didn't see a cloud in the sky where we were, which is not that far. You could go to the Keys in the afternoon, for the day, depending, the Key West could be as far as 2.5 hours away, or the first Key, which is about 45 minutes from where I am, because it's, the Keys are so long. And it could be sun shining where, within a half hour or even 15 minutes, one place to the other. And that's typical, especially in the summer. You'll have your showers for a short brief period of time, and then the sun comes out and nothing happened. That's very typical.
I wonder if that's because there's no mountains or anything, right? Everything's flat, right?
Flat.
Yeah, so maybe that's because we're all in valleys and there's hills up here, so maybe stuff collects, and that's why you get gray for long periods of time when you get like big areas getting rained on. But down there, it's just like, here's this cloud that's floating that has rain, and it passes over one spot, and it's putting a cloud or a shadow over one spot, but it's not a big area that's getting kind of collecting all the clouds. So it's interesting. It's Very cool. All right, so it is
fun.
hot as Hades down there. More in the summer. The season to visit would be in the fall, winter when it's colder
Right.
up here,
Yep.
right? Yeah, that would be the time to visit. So let's now talk about, and I'll try to bring the map up again, the work and local commute. Are most of the people in Miami, are they living in Miami and working in Miami, or are they commuting from outside into Miami for the workday, or what's that like?
We have a combination of things. So Broward County, which is the next county over, up right north of us, we have many people that commute from Broward County into Dade County. And we have like most transportation here is your own vehicle. We do have a metro rail train that really kind of goes north and west, and many people take that into downtown, but not a lot. But there is a lot of, it's heavy traffic here. That is the one thing I definitely, when I'm speaking to people, any of my clients or anyone that's asked me about Miami and, they want to move here. And the question is, what kind of lifestyle do you want? Because there's different lifestyles in different parts of it. We have live, work, play areas, downtown Brickell. You literally don't need a car pretty much. You just walk downstairs, take the train, walk to your office, because everything's kind of within walkable distances. We have many kind of almost local kind of mini downtowns in some of the incorporated cities that have incorporated throughout the years. So they have like mini, not necessarily big downtowns, but just you can have eat, work, play, walk across the street on local shops and that kind of thing. So we have places like Palmetto Bay. Pinecrest doesn't really have a big downtown, but there's kind of shops and things, and there you kind of need a car. But we have Doral's another city that has incorporated years ago, and that's got a mini, not necessarily downtown, shops, restaurants, that kind of thing. And it's called City Place, so it's very walkable in that area. But most people here do commute through the car by their own car. You really need a car here for the most part. And some people, we do have people from the north, from the county north of us commuting here into Miami. But for the most part, people I would say the average commute is 45 minutes to an hour, if not longer, depending on where, not everybody has to drive that long, but it's not so much the distance as it is, the peak hour traffic hours. It's yeah.
Sure.
It can get, our commute is not the distance as it is the heavy traffic. There's quite a bit.
Yeah. What about, isn't there some fast train being built or something in Florida, or connecting north and south or something?
Brightline, which is really exciting because it's going to go Miami, Palm Beach, Orlando, and I believe it should be going all the way to Tampa. I have not gone on it yet. I was going to go on it not too long before the pandemic, and then I didn't. And then obviously I haven't gone back to visit it. I believe it probably should be open now. But yes, that's a speed train, which is going to be very exciting, and it's really going to connect, I think, the whole state pretty much, because Orlando to Miami is fantastic. That's going to be fantastic. And same thing once it hits Tampa, which is also booming with people coming down here to live. So yeah, the Brightline. Yep, definitely.
Wow.
I know people have gone on. It's like a luxury train. It's not.
And Miami would be the southmost, right? The end of it.
Yep. That's really
that's pretty cool. And you don't have any public buses? Do you have buses at all?
We have buses. It's not to the degree of, let's say, we have transit. I wouldn't. So when you're talking major cities, New York, Chicago, LA, they have mass transit, and not that we don't have transit. It's just not as frequent, and it's not accessible. When I say accessible, conveniently accessible to where the commute would make sense to take the bus versus driving the car. There are areas you can, drive to certain metro rail stations. You drop your car off and go, but it also has to work with, depending on location where you live. Does it make sense to drive half hour to where you need to go and then take the train? If your office is in the north, like where the train drops you off. So they've improved and it's gotten better, but the frequency of, like, we do have buses, and things like that, but it's not like a New York City where it's frequent enough that people use it, but it could be used a lot more if we had the infrastructure in the street set up for that. So we're working.
And there's Uber there, I'm assuming, right? Uber, Lyft, all that
Uber
stuff.
everywhere.
Because I have learned that there are some places that don't have those things, actually.
But
Miami is obviously huge, so they have it. But yeah, if you're in a bind and you need something, you can use Uber down there.
yeah, well, even many locals, even having cars and being able, like when there's major, whether it's concerts or sporting events, sometimes people will Uber there just because of the parking and finding the parking and the number of cars. So it's just, I've Ubered to concerts. Go to a friend's house, my sister, drop the car off and Uber, because it's for ease of just getting there and not having to deal with the parking and the traffic in and out. And so yeah, we have a lot of people here.
And they're a designated driver if you're doing that too. It helps with
exactly.
a night out anytime would be better like that. Yeah. Exactly. So what are the major employers? Is it mostly tourism? Is that what the major employer is down there, or are there like corporate headquarters and stuff like that?
We do have corporate headquarters. Just so you know, home builder Lennar, their home base is Miami. By the way, it's their home base is Miami.
We don't have them here, so I don't even know who. Like I know who they are, but I don't like.
Their home base is here. We are the cruise capital of the world, so NCL, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and some of these are not necessarily in Miami, but I'm South Florida. They have offices like in Broward County, which is the next county over, but they're all the major cruise lines have presence here. We have many fintech startups here. We're big onto property tech. Had a huge convention back in, I think it was February. I conflicted with something, so I wasn't able to come to attend. But we have many fintech startups down here, hedge funds as well. And let's see, Ryder, well, they're not Miami, but they're in Broward County, but we do have very large employers down here. We have a huge, our airport is international. So we have many, I wouldn't say their corporate bases are here, but we have many international flights and employment as far as that's concerned down here. Amazon has a couple of bases down here, and they're building one, I believe, down in Homestead, which is just south of Miami. They're going to be building a big distribution center down there. So, no, we've got some significant employers down here. And of course, we have many international banks. Because, we have many international
That makes sense.
Yep, many international banks.
Totally. And you mentioned sports teams, which will be a good segue into what there is to do down there as well. So what are the sports teams? Because those are big employers and also something to do.
Yep. We have the Miami Dolphins, the Miami Heat, they're doing very well at the moment. We have the Panthers, which is a hockey. I don't know the name of the soccer, but I know we have the international soccer. So we've got all the major, and the Miami Marlins baseball. So we've got all the major sports teams down here.
And what will be do they all play at different places? What would be the place you would go to see a concert? Is there a certain one of those?
Yes. So the FTX, I believe is what's called now. It was forever called the American Airlines Arena, which is Miami Heat. It's now called I want to say FTX, yes, is where the many concerts are. Then, now I don't remember the name of the football, and I say that because I'm stuck on the original when they built it, the football stadium. And there are also concerts. Actually, that's where the Super Bowl is. When you see the Super Bowl, it's in our football stadium. That's where you see it. And then
every year,
the Hard Rock.
Oh, really? I don't watch sports, so I don't. Yeah. Huh. I didn't know that.
We've had the Super Bowl a couple of years. Yeah, when we've had the Super Bowl, it's in our football stadium. And the Panthers, which play at the Hard Rock. So we have different venues for different concerts. And then it's typically in one of the locations where our sports teams play. Yep.
Yeah, because the hockey or the Heat, those would both be inside, be good for. Well, there is no winter. I'm thinking it's snow. You're gonna have it inside. It could be outside all year long, or actually in the summers when you want it inside there.
So where the Marlins play, they have a relatively newer stadium, and that can be covered. Because the thing is, great, we don't have winter, but when the sun. I've been to football games and I love going to football games, but I will tell you, when football season starts, it's the middle of August, and you will come out looking like, if my husband's very fair, I said, you will get sunburned like there's no tomorrow. It is like 90, even if it's 85 degrees, just the heat of, the ground and everything else. And the sun is a scorcher. So it's really hard to sit in and people do it. To sit in a football game in the middle of a Sunday afternoon.
They should hand out first 1,000 people get a free umbrella. I'd be the one sitting there. I don't care. I'm holding this umbrella. It's too darn hot out here.
It's really the sun is really intense, so it's really difficult to sit there for 2 or 3 hours, and you come out looking like you fried. You were fried yourself outside, so it's really difficult out there. So yeah.
And then other than sports teams, what is there to do? Obviously, water sports like fishing and boating and all that kind of stuff.
Fishing, there's boating, and there's water sports. I mean, there's a lot of nightlife, a lot of nightlife. We have restaurants in all different locations and all different venues, indoor, outdoor, sitting by a boat, sitting by the water. And we have, Coral Gables is a city that's right next to Miami, and we've got strips of streets just with restaurants. Wynwood is also another artsy kind of area that has grown tremendously over the last few years, and that's a very touristy attraction. There's a lot of arts and different restaurants and shops and things. So we have quite a bit of things to keep pretty much everybody and anybody entertained. Sports in all different venues, depending on what sport you like. Water sports, of course, we have the beach, and there's like jet skiing, swimming, fishing, canoeing, kayaking. There's a lot of biking. I wouldn't say hiking because we're flat. We are totally flat. There's nothing here. Jet ski.
And there's no shade either. When we went to Sarasota for the meetup, I was trying to find a place to like hike or walk or any kind of shade or anything, and it's just nothing.
No, we need to get you into an indoor. We have a few of those indoor mountain climbing, which is not the same thing though, because once you've been in the true mountains, there's nothing like the real nature. We don't have that here yet. You'd have to go by the boat. No, that's it. Tons of restaurants with all different country. We have food from all over the world here. We really do. And really,
is Versace's house down there? Am I remembering that correctly? Versace, isn't his house on the strip or something? Yep. Or
that's Miami Beach. Yep.
Yeah.
Tons of shopping everywhere you go.
And then you mentioned the nightlife. It's pretty notorious for nightlife. It's like one of the biggest places for nightlife and that kind of partying and drug culture over the years. I don't know if it is anymore. Probably somewhat with nightlife comes at least some of that. But
that toned down a bit. Just back in you're talking about a different era. Yeah, that we toned down.
The Scarface days.
Yeah, but we definitely have a big nightlife here. And different type of venues for the nightlife, depending on age, depending on what you're are into. We have all different styles for just about everybody and anybody. So, yep. And
there's a lot of money in Miami. You're going to see a lot of supercars driving around and stuff like that, right?
You will. You have certain even just different shopping areas where there's restaurants and you will just drive into the parking lot and you could just see all sorts. I mean, you could look and see Maserati, just Rolls Royce, depending on where you are. You can see multiples of these cars, and it's just like a normal. There is a lot of money down here. There's a lot of wealth. There definitely is.
Is there a certain road or street where all the the Golden Mile or something where all the biggest stuff is or anything?
Well, we have a number of different areas. So if you go Miami Beach, which is north of Miami, where the islands, we have Star Island. That's where the Stefans live. We have multiple different separate islands. We have an area down in an area called Pinecrest, which was incorporated years ago. Old Cutler Road, and you're going to see mansion. Not all our mansions, but just different environment. Let's say. Deering Bay is down a little further south, and there you're going to see huge, multi-million-dollar condos. There's also Williams Island, which is also north by Miami Beach. So we have quite many different areas. Coral Gables, which is a city in itself, also has Alhambra Circle, just Merrick Park, just different main roads that you see. You can just see the Coral Gables is more of a Spanish type of style, older homes, but they're gorgeous mansions. They really are beautiful. Old Cutler Road, driving down, and it's just large lots, bigger, $4 or $5 million homes. They're not all like that, but it's just a different type of vibe. That's why I said, depending on what you're looking for, when you come to Miami, there's wealth in all different areas and all different lifestyles. So then you have the high rises where you have 30, 20, $15 million condos, which is very different from a home. So we have a little bit of a lot of different things. And because, up north, you would think of the country. If you drive and it's, oh my God, you're in a country with the goats and or whatever you're looking at. We really don't have like country. There is an area a little further south, which is known for acreage and that type of thing, but it's not so much of as far as country as I would refer to it in the Northeast, let's say, because I grew up in the Northeast. So when you say the country, well, it's an hour away, and you see the cows and the chickens, and we don't have really that much of that here. There's a couple of spots, but not necessarily a lot of that. No. And
you'd have more of like marshland if you hit something. If you went west, I think you're going to start hitting Everglades and that kind of stuff. If you drove across the country, and it would be more marsh and still no big tall trees or mountains or hills or anything, but wilderness, so to speak, I suppose.
So, we have started building up into the Everglades, which is the west, just the marsh, as you call it. So we have really expanded out west. There's very little land left to build, pretty much no land left to build for the most part. Big plots of land in Miami left to build. There's just pockets here and there because we are really just very built out. I have seen it grow, and like you mentioned, the Everglades, which is west, and we have really we're built out all to the west.
Yeah, you'd have to probably start filling it in if you were going to kind of like they build island. You'd have to fill it in like Manhattan or whatever and build it up so that you could, or on stilts, or you don't do that. You just build more high rises where you can fit 300 units in one spot. You build up, not out. I suppose that's what you do.
Yeah, we really have built a lot up. Well, I mean,
and then what about food?
Island's beautiful. It really is. And
what about food? Is it is there a food that Miami's known for? I feel like would it be like the mahi-mahi, like fish stuff, or is there some cultural like ethnic food that it's known for?
So many years ago, and I'm actually Cuban myself. There were many Cuban. That's just initially, but right now it's such an international melting pot that I can honestly tell you there's different foods I can think of depending on what country. So Versailles, which is a Cuban restaurant, very well known. The presidents have all eaten there and things. That's right off of A Street, like Little Havana, A Street. That's kind of a staple of Miami, and that's more of I think Cuban. It's just So Versailles is a Cuban restaurant, and it would be known for palomilla, which is our thin steak, kind of the way we cook it, with white rice and black beans and ripe sweet plantains. But we have such a diverse and large population of all different countries. We really, really do. So we have many South American countries that are represented here. So depending what country you want to think about, they all have different staples. Very similar, but slightly different. So think Miami, palomilla, which is typical, Cuban. Arroz con pollo, which is rice and chicken, yellow rice and chicken cooked together. But I mean, those would be typical of Miami. But we also have a very large, diverse population from many different, Central and South America. And our foods, even the islands, Santo Domingo, Puerto Rico, we've got them from everywhere. So some of our foods are similar, but then again, they all have a little different flavor and twist to them as well. So do you have
up here in the north, we have more like Chinatown and like Little Italy and those. Do you have those as well? Or is it more, you said what, Little Havana, maybe like Little Puerto Rico, a little,
right.
What are the other ones? Dominican Republic, or those kind of more like tropical kind of little cities?
No, the only thing I could think, the only one city that I could think of that's predominantly or more known, let's say, is Doral. They would refer to it as Valenzuela. So Dorazuela. So it's kind of nicknamed because many Venezuelans migrated to there and over the years. So there is a very strong presence of Venezuelans there, but there's a lot of South Americans there as well. So Doral has a lot of very typical things of Venezuela and South America. But other like up in the Northeast, I know what you're saying, Little Italy, Chinatown, that kind of areas. Wouldn't necessarily say that. There's like little Haiti, little kind of areas people live in, and then maybe some small restaurants, obviously typical to the local market. But we don't have like a Chinatown and a Little Italy, no, not like that. not like that. There's areas that are known predominantly for different countries that, it has a predominant presence of people from different either culture or different countries, so that it's typical. You're going to find more typical to that population their foods, but it's not like the whole, Chinatown, Little Italy, that kind of thing. No.
Yeah, because I know that's all like part of the tourist thing up here. Like in New York, you would go to Chinatown because it's cool to see the things that you don't usually see or whatever in the restaurants and everything. And I think you said Versailles was in Little Havana, right?
Yes, it is. Well, it is. It's close to Little Havana, correct? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then there's a Miami airport, huge airport. If you don't know that, now you know. So you can get everywhere. If you were driving to a vacation, where would you drive to?
If I were driving to a vacation, where would I drive to? I would probably drive to, right now, I'd probably think Asheville, maybe somewhere I'd want to go to. Asheville right now, and if you tell me a couple of months from now, I think I'd want to drive up further north, like into the Michigan up, because I know when it gets really hot here, they have beautiful summers up there. So that's why.
Would you say Michigan?
Well, you know what? No, let me go back.
Because you would fly there. I'm trying to get at what's the go-to driving vacation for a Floridian? You would go north, basically, is what you're saying.
I would go north, and I would love to visit the Northeast, Cape Cod, that kind of Martha's Vineyard. I want to go in the fall, so kind of September, October. That is my favorite season, and yeah, that's the time because it's not.
So would you drive that far?
Yeah, I know it's a long drive because I've driven to New York not recently, but many a times, and that 26-hour drive is no fun.
I've driven to Key West from here three times, been down there 3 times. And the way down there is not too bad. And this was when I was still drinking and young in my 20s. And it's New Year's. We actually went for the millennium, 99 to 2000.
Oh, wow.
The way down is like great. Yeah, nonstop, not stopping. And then the way back is the worst drive ever known to man.
But Florida's a very long state, so welcome to Florida. Oh, great, we're almost in Miami. You have about a good 8 hours. It's a long way before you get to Miami when you're driving.
And then Miami to Key West is another like hour or something, isn't it?
2.5 hours. Yep, it's a long drive. It is. I haven't been there in a bit, but it is a long drive. And then that 7-mile bridge, it's a long stretch of just straight highway down. Like,
yeah, it is nice down there. I do like it. Obviously, I've been there 3 times. And now let's talk about if people are moving there, what are they going to get for their money? You started throwing out some $1 million figures there for some of that high-rise stuff. What's about an average price? What could somebody get into something there?
So,
or maybe let's start with like a first-time buyer. Do you have first-time buyers there? What would a first-time buyer be looking at?
We do, but I will say that the last 2 years have been interesting, right? I would say for everybody. So first-time buyers, this cycle that we're in, or the current state that we're in right now, so the price points have definitely increased dramatically. So the first-time buyers are really finding it challenging to get into a single-family home because the price points have definitely creeped up. I would probably say close to 400, like it's up there. Moving up. So for the first time buyer, depending on your financing and how much money you really have, it's not as easy as it was, or you're going to need more cash to get in there, let's put it that way. So 400, 450, and that limits you anywhere, and you just can't live anywhere either. So it depends on what your budget is, because in order to be able to purchase your first time home on a lower kind of price point, 350 is really, you can't find a home. 400-ish, you really have to go further south because it's for new construction, and because I would say our median home price is between 450 to 500-ish, more into town, and then I've seen homes increase about $200,000 in some areas within the last 2 years.
So what is that like for 450 house? If you went a little south and got that, what is that, like a little 3-bed ranch with a carport, like that kind of thing, or is it a little bit bigger, smaller?
2 with a garage, but then you are further south. You are definitely further south. We're talking more closer to Homestead. There, you may be able to find some in Miami, but the thing is that we have areas of Miami that are older. So even in those older areas, the home may need some work. It's not going to be your newer home. Homes built in the 60s, some of them maybe 70s, because we have some old homes, but generally speaking, Miami's a relatively young city, so we don't have like 100-year, not many of those anyway. So those homes are typically smaller. The lots may be larger, but you're going to need some, it's not like your new kind of construction. New construction, you're talking in the 400s. And when they say 400s, it's typically closer to the like higher up 400s for new homes.
Yeah, the builders are good. Starting in the 299s. Nah, it's actually like 4 once you, if you want a garage door, it's
yeah. New construction here, the townhomes are going into the mid to high 300s, close to 400 for townhomes.
So if somebody came to you and said, I got let's say 600,000 and I want to be in Miami as close to like the nightlife or Dow, whatever, where all the stuff is, would that be able to happen, and what would it be?
So it could happen, but it's dependent on a couple of things. So Miami's very different in different areas. It's a pretty large city. So lifestyle changes between whether it's school, is it your office? Do you like the suburb kind of living, or do you want to live closer to the city? So all of that also will be driven by price point. Because if you want the downtown eat, work, play thing, you're talking more of a condo, because the homes that are closer to that, if you want like to be in a home, you may end up paying $600,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. If you're closer to downtown, depending.
And would that be a condo, or that would be like a little row house or something? I may be able to find you a home
to $500,000 or $600,000. You may even pay $700,000 or $800,000, depending on where the home is closer to the downtown Brickell area. So it's very different by area and what's important to you, what your needs are. I can find you a home for $500,000. I could find you a home maybe for $400,000, $450,000. Again, depending size and what you're going to get for your money is very different depending on location. It's not that one's a bad, it's very different on location and what your needs are, because Miami is very diverse within itself, within neighborhoods and different things. I mean, I can find a home for $450,000, and I can find, if I move that home a couple of miles up or down, it could be $750,000 or $1 million. So it's very different. We have schools all over, private, public, magnet, all different type of programs. So, and traffic, as we talked about, is also something that's is a big, I would say, concern. It's just something that I make sure that people are aware of. It can be very high traffic in certain areas, and just be aware that you can live a little further. That's not an issue, but be prepared or be aware of that the commute may be something you don't want to deal with. We have a lot of remote work now because COVID has changed the world. So a lot of people have this flexibility, but commute and distance, it's not so much the distance as it is the congestion of traffic. We do have major highways. Our highways are great. I've driven throughout different areas of the country, and our highways are clean, they're new, they're not bumpy and old, and so we do have great.
Well, there's no snow to mess them all
right,
up. That's what the problem
also,
is.
But, we do have good highways and things like that, but there is congestion. So, depending on what your price point is and what your needs are, would determine what location, what options you have for location. You can find a condo for $400,000, but you can also find a condo for $1 million, and they can almost be about the same size depending on where you are.
Could those two condos be in the same building? Do they go, like, they cost more as you go up? And the size of the unit, obviously, and the upgrades, yada, yada. But in general, they get more as they go up. And does it depend which side of the building it's on? If it faces the beach or doesn't face the beach?
Yep, I was waiting for it. Yep. So condos on the high rise. We're talking luxury. They don't have to be luxury, but high rise buildings, those kind of buildings, as you go higher in floors, it will determine, the prices can go up. And also which way it's facing. Do you have an ocean view? Do you have partial ocean view? Do you have front ocean view? Is it facing the city, north, south, east, west? So all of those factors do play into, on these newer buildings, play into price. Definitely play into price.
And then what about the HOAs? how much does it cost in addition to that 400 or a million or 3 million or whatever? What's the fee? I feel like, because up here, every time somebody moves from the south up here, they're bracing for hundreds and hundreds, like $1,000, and I'm like, it's $120 a month. Wow.
So HOAs, okay, so depending on the area of town, there's some, and not even just with the condos. We have many communities, not that everything is gated here by any means. There's certain areas that are known for gated, a lot of gated subdivisions within the master plan community kind of thing, but they're not all like that. So HOAs vary. You could have some as low as, I'm not talking condos yet, $60 or $70 a month for very minimal common areas and with no amenities, versus you can have 500, 600, 700, 1,500. I've seen all, the luxury buildings. Yes, it's a per square foot, and the amenities in these new buildings are off the charts. You have the business center. You really don't need to leave your building. You have the gym, you have the business center, you have your lunch. I mean, you've got concierge service, you've got 24-hour valet, and yes, you could be paying $1,200, $1,400 a month on some of these units, and then you can have units that pay $200 or $300. It depends on the building, depends on the location, depends on the amenities within the building. That's some HOAs. Then we have many homes. I wouldn't say a majority, but there are a number of areas that have HOAs within communities within the homes. We have a number of master plan communities, so they have like little subdivisions within the master community, and they have like a master big clubhouse with the Olympic-sized pools and the gyms and all that, and they also have association fees. Some of these associations will include gym, security, the gated, so there's a lot of different things. So we do have a number of areas that are more prone to monthly association dues, and condos it varies. It depends on what type of where your building is and what the amenities are and things of that nature. So the high-rise buildings typically are going to be a much higher HOA. And it covers,
which makes sense, because that's you got to replace that elevator that goes up 50 floors or whatever at some day, and that's going to cost millions and millions of dollars, and the whole exterior and the whole everything about that, it costs a lot of money to keep them up. We've got like maybe one or two of that remotely close to that kind of building here, and they're notorious for maintenance issues because when big things come to happen, they didn't save up enough money for the whole elevator to get replaced or the roof or to paint the entire exterior or all that kind of stuff, which is, I guess, why things have been happening lately with condo buildings and all that stuff. So the fees are just going to go up so that they can maintain them even better, and that'll keep happening, I suppose.
Climate here requires year-round erosion, water, sun. So we do have a lot, especially on these high-rise buildings, the balconies, exteriors, the cracks. We had obviously that unfortunately a few years ago, or not that long ago, with Surfside, and that was a terrible tragedy. But the climate here, especially when you're by the water, does require that much more on a regular basis to ensure that we don't have those issues. I mean, there's more to it than that, but so those issues don't occur.
Totally. And then what about somebody comes down there and says, sky's the limit, I'm a billionaire, I want some bomb A pad in Miami. What are they going to get? What are you going to show them? Is it going to be, I'm guessing the choices are going to be, if you want the best of the best, most expensive thing, it's going to be penthouse, some big penthouse, close to the top of the new building or whatever, or is it a private beach mansion type of deal?
Well, do you want to be on
both?
Individual islands, or we have exclusive areas? It could be Coral Gables, it could be Pinecrest. I could name some of the local kind of towns around that where it's very exclusive. Coconut. We've got pockets. I don't say pockets of areas. There's different areas depending on what you want. Do you want to live in a penthouse? We've got a number of buildings that I can show you. And how far north do you want to go? And so everyone mentions Miami Beach. South of 5th is a very exclusive area, very different than North Beach, very different than Sunny Isles, very different than. So we have got. It's very different. So it's kind of what's your flavor of specifically what you want. Before I can place you, I'll show you different areas within even, let's say, for example, the strip of Miami Beach, because it's very different, a different vibe in different areas. So like when you're moving down here, it's really important to really, because I encourage people to, I'll show them property, you know, price point based on what they're looking for, obviously, right? But it's very important to just take a drive, go to the local, park your car and walk around. Go to the grocery store, see the shopping centers, go into the local markets, because it's very different from one area to the next. And sometimes it's not even that far. So because, you know, I can find you a $20 million home on an acre or two, depending on where we are. Or you can go look at a $20 million condo. Do you want the condo life? And then depending where on the strip of the beach you are, it's a different feel. So it's a lot. It really is. There's a lot of different lifestyles within the one major lifestyle of the weather. It really is. Miami is very different in different areas. Yeah.
And then when you mentioned the island, you talk about like Miami Beach and like those islands, or are there little islands where you can buy like a whole island, or little islands where there's like one subdivision on an island?
No. We have Miami Beach has like Star Island, which is one that's very well, but there's Hibiscus Island. There's small islands right off of there that then there are homes on there. Like Fisher Island is a very exclusive island as well, and that you have to take a ferry boat literally to get onto the island. There's a very exclusive area called Ocean Reef, which is down south, that you just don't drive there and get in. You have to know who you're going to visit. So we've got a number of different places you can go to. You know, especially.
Oh, here's a good question. What do you know? What famous people live in Miami, and where do they live? Or maybe one or two or something.
Well, okay, I mentioned the Estefans. They're on Star Island, which is right off of Miami Beach, right there in the Miami Beach. I don't want to get into politics, but you know the Trumps live up there as well. So you know that's just right off of Miami Beach. We have a number of sports figures that have lived in the area of Pinecrest, areas of Coral Gables. There's places of Coral Gables that are gated as well. Coco Pluma is a very wealthy circle. So we've got people in many different areas throughout Miami. You just have to know the pockets. Yeah. Pinecrest is a place that we have a number of people there as well. That's just kind of an incorporated city. Coral Gables definitely has definitely a number of people there, and then the islands right off of Miami Beach, just to name a few. But there's a number of different places throughout Miami that you can find people.
I'm sure there are a ton. I mean, it's kind of like if you went out to California, to LA, they should be selling the maps. I'm sure in Miami has just as many. Everybody with money probably owns a place in Miami somewhere.
Yeah, the Faena building, which is on Miami Beach, that's phenomenal. Those condominiums are just. They're amazing. So again, we've just got, depending on the lifestyle that you want.
So before we finish it out here, we're going to ask you a question that has nothing to do with Miami or real estate, but does have to do with you. If you could do any other profession, what would it be? Would you go back to something financial, or would you cook and entertain and host something? What would you do?
Probably. That's a tough question, because it's like, what stage of my life am I in, right? Do I want to go? If I had to go back to a different profession or change from real estate, I would probably go back to financial. I love numbers. I really, yeah. But you know, the one thing we didn't talk about, which is fine, but my corporate background worked in finance. And it was in the real estate industry. So I really, the majority of all my life worked in the real estate industry. I worked on the finance side and not in the mortgages, like me as a loan officer or anything like that. I worked on the financial part, secondary marketing, capital markets, cash management. So all within the real estate in a large corporate companies. Managing cash and because treasury is that is my that was my passion, to treasury within a large corporate. So I would probably go back to finance if I would say to do something, or probably finance.
Nice. You know what you like.
And
you're good at numbers. I was good at numbers too. I had one wrong on the math portion of my SATs.
Oh my gosh, I didn't quite do that well. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, but then the English part I didn't even read. I literally did the BCC, BCC thing because I hate to read. I got like an 1150 or something. I did pretty well.
No.
I mean, the math was like 100%, and then whatever I still got like half of the English ones right. So, yeah. But the school I went to, they didn't really care about that, which is why I didn't really care too much about it. But anyway, so tell everybody where to find you if they want to find you, and read all your information aloud so that anybody that might be listening can jot it down.
Well, you can reach me by phone or text at 305-812-0747. My email address is IrSotolongo @gmail.com. And my website is iris.sotolongo.com. So, or you could find me on Instagram as well, IrSotolongoPA. I'm also there as well. And that's pretty much it. You can just reach out to me, text, call, email, but what makes it easier for me, and I'm happy to speak to anyone about Miami. There's a lot to do here and a lot to learn about the city itself. It's a great city. Yep, very diverse.
And it's easy to get there too.
Yes, it is.
So it wasn't a typo in your, I meant to ask you that before we came on. It wasn't a typo that it's just IR. Is your middle name an R?
No, I just use I really need to go update that one day because I just used my first two letters because then I figured it was so long to type, but it's confusing because my last name kind of almost blends in. So oftentimes people get it wrong the first, like they'll be sending me an email and they use my full name, like no. So I make sure I articulate that clearly. First two letters only, and then the rest of my last name. So there.
Yeah, you're right. It is confusing, and you should change it because everybody's like, that must be wrong, and I'll put the IS in there.
Exactly.
So reach out to her. Her stuff's there, and at some point she'll get an email address with Iris at the beginning of it. But you can reach out to her or just Google her. We are being terrible real estate agents if we don't show up when you Google us. You can contact me also if you're buying or selling a house in Central Pennsylvania or anywhere around the world. We have a vast network of agents, lenders, all kinds of other professionals in the real estate area. You can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to talk to you about your home buying and selling needs. Thanks for watching and listening. Thank you, Iris, for being here, and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. I hope to hear from many of you down here in Miami. Looking forward to talking to you. Take care. Have a great